Hi, everyone, and welcome back to For the Kingdom. I'm your host, Kylie. I'm so excited and grateful to be here with you guys. I hope everyone has got their March Madness rosters in and is ready to watch basketball. Even if you don't watch basketball, I only watch it for the March Madness. I'm really hoping that Arizona wins. I need them to pull it out. Really need them to pull it out. I'm a sports person, but I just don't watch it until March Madness. But I still thoroughly enjoy it. So for the next 3 weeks, I want to do, or for the next 3 Fridays, we have 2 Fridays until Good Friday, and then we have Easter. So I thought we should do a series in Matthew leading up to Jesus' resurrection, in honor of him, of course. So for this episode, we are going to do the Last Supper, the Garden of Gethsemane, and Judas's betrayal. We're just going to go over all of that, and then next week we will do when he gets arrested, his trials, and the crucifixion. So that episode will be really heavy, but that way that you can kind of follow along with me if you guys would like. So I'm going to start in Matthew chapter 26, verses 14. And we're just kind of read, and then I'm going to pause and give some thoughts, give some notes that I had taken in this reading and the stuff that I have learned about as well. So it says, Then one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, What are you willing to give me if I hand him over to you? So they counted for him 30 silver coins. From then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over. So with that 30 silver coins, I wanted to look back and see at that time how much 30 silver coins would be worth. And it's kind of hard to estimate and know the exact amount that it was back then, but a lot of scholars have agreed that 30 silver coins would be worth what a slave would be worth back then. Like I said, that's not a direct, exact amount of what they could have bought something for, but that's a lot of scholars have agreed that that's what it would be. So, but that was just a fact that I wanted to put out there. Verse 17, it says, On the first day of the feast of the unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, Where do you want us to make preparations for you to eat the Passover? He replied, Go into the city to a certain man and tell him, The teacher says my appointed time is near. I'm going to celebrate the Passover with my disciples at your house. So the disciples did as Jesus had directed them and prepared the Passover. When evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12, and while they were eating, he said, I tell you the truth, one of you will betray me. They were very sad and began to say to him one after the other, Surely not I, Lord. Jesus replied, The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born. Then Judas, the one who would betray him, said, Surely not I, Rabbi. And Jesus answered and said, Yes, it is you. So Judas, we see he just betrays Jesus. And for 30 silver coins. And then he comes back to this Last Supper and eats with him and says, Surely not I, Rabbi. And Jesus answered, Yes, it is you. And Jesus didn't reprimand Judas. He didn't condemn Judas. It's more of as he's given him an opportunity to repent. He didn't treat him any other way than any other disciples, even though that he was the one that betrayed him. And Jesus just set such great examples of us and who we should be as characters. It says, while they were eating, Jesus took the bread and gave thanks and broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take and eat. This is my body." Then he took the cup and gave thanks and offered it to him, saying, "Drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on until the day that I drink it anew with you in my Father's kingdom." So then we go to the communion part. And Jesus breaks this bread and says, "Take and eat. This is my body." And I wanted to get deeper into that. The action of take isn't forcing something on someone. Jesus says, saying, "Receive this. Receive my sacrifice for you to have this new covenant with the Lord. I'm not going to force it on you. You have to receive it." When he says eat, we eat things because we cannot survive without them. They're critical to our survival, just like Jesus. If we don't have Jesus, we will perish. And the drink, the blood that Christ poured out on Calvary for us. And it's in remembrance of those things that we take communion, we break that bread, and we drink from the cup in remembrance of that covenant that Jesus created for us. And it says, when they sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus told them, "This very night you will all fall away on account of me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go ahead of all of you into Galilee." And Peter replied, "Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will." "I tell you the truth," Jesus answered, "this very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times." Peter declared, "Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you." And all the other disciples said the same. That must have been really hard for the disciples and Peter to hear Jesus telling him that he's going to deny him 3 times. Because he's like, "What do you mean I'm going to deny you 3 times? Like, I would never do that." But Jesus knew that he would, and he knew that the circumstance that would surround him disowning Jesus 3 times. And still, yet, just like Judas, Jesus knowing these things did not treat the disciples any differently. He still loved them. He still taught them. He still wanted to make them better. He still wanted to prepare them. In verse 36 is when Jesus goes into the garden, and Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little further, he fell on his face to the ground and prayed. And I wanted to stop there really quick because in Luke chapter 22, verse 39, it says, "Jesus went out as usual to the mountain of Olives, and his disciples followed him." So Luke gives a little bit of a different account, but Luke says that he went out as usual. So we see here that Jesus goes out to this garden as he's done time and time before, because he knows that Judas would know that place. And Jesus, even though he knows that Judas has betrayed him, he's not running. He's not hiding. He's not trying to escape. He's continuing the routine and just sitting and waiting. And he says that when he goes further, he falls on his face to the ground and he just prays. He says, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Jesus asked if there was another way, because he knew the agony and the suffering that would be on the cross. And on Luke's account, Luke goes even deeper. And he says, Father, if you were willing, take this cup away from me. And it says, and being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. Jesus was praying so hard, and his soul was being poured out, and he was in such mental and spiritual anguish that his sweat started dropping like blood. Like he's in so much anguish. And that makes me emotional to think about that before he knew what was coming, and he still chose to stay there and to take upon the cross for us. When Jesus goes back to his disciples and he finds them sleeping, he says, could you men not keep watch with me for 1 hour? He asked Peter. Watch and pray so that you will not fall in temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak. He went away a second time and prayed, my Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done. When he came back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed a third time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour is near, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer. He says, rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer. So Jesus doesn't wait for Judas and the guards to come and get him. He meets Judas. He comes out. He's not scared. Well, I should say he probably is scared. We don't know. That's not recorded. But what I can hear from his praying for God to take away the cup unless he must drink it. I'm sure there could be some fear there. I'm not going to speculate on what Jesus thought in that moment. But he meets Judas. Like, he doesn't try to escape his fate. He doesn't try to run. He knows that I am the only one that can save these people, even if it costs me my life, if it costs me agony and pain and suffering on that cross, more than any other man will ever suffer. I will take it so that they may be saved. I think it also shows that Jesus is in control the entire time. Like, there is not a point in time where Jesus is not in control. He knows what's going to happen next. He knows who would betray him, how they would betray him, what's going to happen next, when they're going to come and get him, what's going to happen to him when he's crucified. Like, Jesus is constantly always in control in circumstances that seem like he's not. In circumstances that seem like he's not in control, all these people are doing this to him, he's still in control. And that's where we're going to end for this episode. Next week, we will start in Matthew 26, verse 47, where Jesus is arrested, and then we'll go on to his crucifixion. And then the next week, like I said, we will do his resurrection. I thank you all for tuning in, and I pray that if you haven't read Matthew, I pray that you read the full length of Matthew because it is so good. And read Luke's account as well because, as I showed you guys, Luke touches on other things that Matthew doesn't, and vice versa. But I hope you all have an amazing week. I hope everyone's March Madness brackets are going good. I've already lost 3 games today, so, well, yesterday when this comes out. But I'm so thankful for each and every one of you guys. I'm praying for you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.